Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may find yourself. My name is Mr. Williams, and today's topic is going to be dividing fractions. Okay, so with dividing fractions, the big idea, the goal is for us to change the division problem into a multiplication problem. One of the things that the state of Texas wants you to have understood is that when you multiply by a fraction, say 1/5, you also need to know that that's the same thing as dividing by 5. And in this video, you are going to see why. You'll see why. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, we have 5 divided by 10/22. Okay, so 5 divided by 10/22. And what we do here, we use the knowledge of the classifying numbers, being able to identify what a type of number is. And we use that knowledge in order to help us solve this. Okay. It's what we would consider invisible math. So let's go ahead and try to solve this. Okay. So we have 5 divided by 10/22. And what I like to tell my students, so that they know there's a certain checklist, is in order for you to divide two fractions, they have to be fractions, okay? And that might be obvious to you, but for others, it might not be so obvious, and that's okay, they're still cool. But here's what we know. We are our brother's keeper. So here's the reason why. This 5, we need to change it into a fraction. And what we're going to do is we're going to write it over 1. It becomes 5/1. Why? Because here's the thing. You need a fraction. That's number 1. You need a fraction. But number 2 thing is you need a fraction that's not going to change its value. There are higher maths where I use this principle in order to solve difficult problems, but here's the principle that lies within it. Here's what it is. 5 divided by 1, still 5. Didn't change anything, okay? So now we have 5/1, and now this division, you're actually going to change it to multiplication. Okay, we're going to change it to multiplication. And here's why we're able to do this. We're able to go from division to multiplication because we're going to take what's known as the reciprocal. Okay, the reciprocal of 10/22. Here's what it is. 22/10. This right here, it lets us know that it is the flip of the other fraction. How do we know? Here's how we know it, because the numerator is now in the denominator and the denominator is in the numerator. That's called reciprocal, also known as flip. You might hear it like this in some classrooms. Keep, change, and flip. That is something that you might see, okay? And then from here, well, what do? Numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So that is going to be here. We have 10. And then what are we going to have on the top? We will have 110. Okay? 110. So how are we going to deal with this? We have 110 divided by 10. here's what I like to do. I will see, yes, you can put this in your calculator, but also you could look at, okay, there's a 0 in the numerator and a 0 in the denominator. And so we're going to cancel those out. You can only do this strategy when the zeros are on the far right of the number. As long as they're on the far right of the number, you can divide them out and get rid of them. What does that leave you with? That leaves you with 11 over 1. Okay, it leaves you with 11 over 1, which is just equal to 11. So the answer in this case would be equal to 11. Okay, and that is how you divide fractions. Now, all of this talk of fractions, it really reminds me about the fact that the Bible says that God, what he knows is way more than what we know. We can only know a fraction of what he knows, okay? As high as the heavens are from us, that's how high his thoughts are, how high his ways are, okay? And so, with that being said, when we are doing fractions, we can be reminded of our need of God because we can only know a fraction of what he knows. But his word says that he reveals his way to those who humble themselves. This has been Mr. Williams with Math Minutes. And as I always tell my students, spread the gospel, not gossip.